What is up, guys? In this one, I will be breaking down how you can get into high-ticket remote sales if you are a complete noob, meaning you're starting from scratch, you have no money, and you're dead broke. Now, before I give you any of this information, just for credibility, because I know you're probably thinking, for those of you that don't know me, who the hell is this guy? Like, is he even legit? Guys, I've closed well over 4 million of high-ticket consulting product in the past roughly 2.5 years alone. Here's a screenshot that shows my credibility. I made over 300K in commissions my first year as a high-ticket remote closer. So yeah, now I'm going to turn off the crackhead energy and I'll talk a little bit slower. Got to keep up the retention rate. Also, guys, for this video, I'm trying out something new where I'm not going to have any crazy like fancy jump cuts or edits. We'll see if it works better. So for those of you watching, stay until the end. Help a brother out. So with that being said, let's get into it. So guys, if you're starting out from completely scratch, number one is I want to set some ground rules, okay? So if you are someone who already comes from some sort of communication background, meaning you've already worked in communication, maybe you're just great at public speaking, you have the podcast voice, as I like to call it. Obviously, like this is going to be a lot easier for you. If you're just like an average Joe, obviously going to be a lot harder for you. And obviously, if you're someone who has like some sort of thick accent or you're just very, very shy, it's going to take a lot more work, right? So obviously, like, just, I want you guys to understand, like, what your baseline is going to be, and this is where you have to be realistic with yourselves. Now, baseline aside, what can you do to actually break into the industry of high-ticket remote sales? Guys, it's very, very simple. There's only two things that matter. Number one is acquiring the right skills, meaning learning how to close, which, again, for those of you guys that are broke, I know you guys would probably buy a program, but maybe you're not broke and you're skeptical, right? Either or, what can you do to get the right skills? Guys, very, very simple. Go on YouTube, either check out, shameless plug, my content on YouTube and Instagram, or check out Matthew Ryder and Jeremy Miner. If you guys check out their videos, you should get a very basic understanding of how to close. And again, I don't recommend watching other people's videos because there's a lot of fucking shit information out there, guys. There's really, really bad information out there, and you want to steer clear away from it. Reason being is because you right now are a blank canvas, meaning you don't know what is good and what is bad, okay? You have no idea. Like, to you, like, literally everything is good. You're gonna go on YouTube and you're gonna be like, how to become a closer, or you're gonna watch sales training and you're like, oh, this is so good, I didn't know this. Yeah, no shit, right? So understand that like everything is gonna be good to you, and you don't wanna build bad habits. If you build bad habits, it's going to screw you over in the long run, okay? So be sure to get your information from someone who knows what they're talking about, okay? Number two, guys, this is like actually a much more important step in just you being able to actually make an income, is obviously, being able to actually find the right opportunities, right? So when it comes to high-ticket remote sales and finding opportunities, holy shit, it is literally like the fucking Wild West, okay? Like there's like great offers, there's shit offers, there's mid offers, there's so many freaking offers, and there's so many different methods of actually, getting placed. So what can you do? Well, number one, guys, is remove the term getting placed and actually switch that instead with getting interviews, okay? So you know how when you run like an agency or, any service-based business, these people tend to, book in sales calls. Well, for us, because we're closers or wanting to become closers, right? We need to be booking in interviews, okay? And your life's mission should literally be booking in interviews, because I don't care how good you are at sales or how many skills you have. If, you are jobless and you don't have, you're not booking any interviews, well, then what's the point, right? So always prioritize booking interviews. Now, how the heck can we book in interviews? Guys, there's two ways of doing this. Number one is there's three ways of doing this. Number one is either you can build a great network, which is going to be very difficult to do if you're a complete beginner, because, well, if you're starting out and you're a beginner and you haven't really paid any coach or consultant, then you don't really know anyone, right? Chances are you don't really know anyone. So chances are you're not going to really have access to any of these private communities that are lucrative, right? And if you do get access to those communities, your life becomes way freaking easier, because obviously, you get access to the best offers off the bat, right? Option two, guys, would be doing outreach, right? This is email outreach. This could be social media outreach. I specifically recommend more so doing social media outreach instead of email outreach, because it's just going to be a lot more efficient. Like these days, I still get some people messaging me saying that they want to be a closer for me or a setter, which is crazy because I don't know what they look like. So I don't really ever respond. So I would stick to doing social media outreach, which, guys, I'll break down in just a sec. And number three is more so just starting to, build out some connections, uploading some content, putting yourself out there, which again could be quite difficult to do when you're starting from scratch, right? So I'm going to more so be focusing my energy and advice, guys, on the second option, which is doing outreach. So when it comes to doing outreach, guys, you guys can obviously use social media platforms, or you guys can use other platforms. So when it comes to social media platforms, I'm sure you guys have heard of Facebook groups. I'm not the biggest fan, to be honest, and at this point, I'd say it's just not worth it, right? It's just so freaking saturated, and there's so many like scam offers on there. I'd more so just steer away from them unless you guys are able to set certain parameters, okay? So which options are there? Well, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, right? And also you guys can even reach out to some of the applications on Glassdoor or even Upwork, okay? Now, specifically for Instagram and for LinkedIn, here's what I would recommend that you do. For LinkedIn, I'd recommend reaching out to recruiters, right? This is like one of the biggest hacks that I'm dropping here for free sauce. Reach out to recruiters, guys. Literally no one talks about this, but recruiters are in place from companies, or they're hired specifically just to find sales reps for them, right? So if you guys just connect with recruiters directly and you book an interview with those guys and you impress them, well, they're gonna keep sending you job opportunities, right? So it's like a crazy hack. And obviously, aside from that, you guys can still reach out to the founders directly to see if they're looking for a closer. Also, you can go on like LinkedIn and just literally type in high ticket closer job, search from there. On Instagram, simply just find influencers that you believe would be a good fit for you, and then simply just reach out to them from there, right? And also, if you go to like the right section, you click the arrow down on the desktop, you're gonna literally never run out of it, right? Now, one thing that I want to tell you guys off the bat is, again, if you guys are starting from scratch, you don't really have any mentorship or anything, and you're gonna just do like outreach, it's gonna be fucking hard, right? Like you're gonna have to send out a fuck ton of messages. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Now, your life becomes a lot easier if your social media looks a lot better, okay? So number one, guys, is like if you don't have any pictures of yourself, your profile just looks like shit, don't even bother like doing outreach, because like what the heck, right? I'm not saying you got to have some videos and stuff or reels, although that would help. What I'm saying more so is like make sure that you're at least looking like a real person. Again, I'm not saying you got to have thousands of followers on there. Just look like a real human being, because if like how would you guys feel if you're running a very successful business and some dude messaged you and he's saying that he's looking for a position as a closer, and you check his profile and there's like nothing there, right? Like his picture is like all terrible and shit, or even if he has pictures, it just looks all odd. His bio's a mess. Like you're just never gonna take him serious. In fact, you're never gonna even click the accept message, right? So don't shoot yourself in the foot before you guys even start the game, right? So make sure that your social media looks presentable, and that in itself is going to go a very, very, very long way, okay? Now, aside from doing outreach specifically, let me give you guys some more advice, okay? So here's where a dilemma starts to occur, okay? Because when you guys do start booking in the interviews, a problem that you guys are gonna face is realizing, oh shit, like I gotta pass these interviews, right? And obviously when you're starting out and you don't have much experience, a lot of these people might not wanna hire you because they're gonna just see you and as a person just doesn't really have much experience, right? So what can you do to counteract that? Well, there's a few things, okay? Number one is sometimes they're just not gonna ask you at all, right? If you just seem to be very confident. But what you could do instead is just kind of, look, I'm not saying you have to do this, but you could just say that you did door-to-door sales to kind of just, get over the initial hump. Or you can also just say that you did appointment setting. Now, as long as you guys have great tonality and you guys sound confident, they're not going to pressure you too much. But if you just come in the call with no experience and you sound like shit and like you're starting from complete scratch, it's going to be tough in passing these interviews. Again, guys, this is why like if you are part of some sort of community, obviously it becomes a lot easier because again, the person who owns the community just literally puts in a good word for you, right? But again, we're trying to make it work here. Number two, guys, this is kind of like a little bit of like the longer path, but it actually works very, very well, is becoming an appointment setter first. Now, before you click off this video and you're like, okay, Hassan, I'm not becoming a fucking appointment setter, hear me out. Most of these companies, what they do, guys, is they promote their appointment setters to closers, right? So they literally promote internally, which, yeah, I know is a bit crazy. Like, a lot of the times, even I'm against it. I'm like, you guys should just be hiring for the best talent, but I don't make the rules, right? Guys, I've scaled 8-figure companies, and some of these companies, they still have some of their, rules like that. Like I've came in and I've trained closers and I've placed them, but a lot of the times as well, what they've still done is like they've taken some of their setters and they've promoted them to closers. So it's basically a sure way of knowing that you can become a closer without even having crazy credentials in the beginning. Literally, all you have to do is go there and set for like 1 to 2 months max, perform well, and they're going to promote you into closer, right? Crazy, I know. Now, obviously, the downside of that, though, is like if you don't perform well, they're going to demote you like right away, right? So you got to perform well. Now, what I recommend that you guys do that are watching this is if you're a beginner, you're starting out and you're dirt poor, like you have no fucking money, and you're struggling, I recommend becoming a setter first instead of a closer because the barrier to entry is a lot lower. So it's like you're super easy to get in, right? Guys, becoming a setter is not hard, especially if it's DM setting. Like literally a kid could do that, right? It's not fucking hard. So become a setter first. Obviously, if it's phone setting, it might be a bit more difficult. But again, if you already have decent tonality and you know how to speak, not that hard to become a setter. It's a very, very easy brain dead job. So become a setter first, guys. Do that. Start making, your first couple grand a month. And also, guys, like FYI, if you're setting for a company that's doing like 7 figures a year, multiple 7 figures a year, or even 8, you can be earning anywhere between 5 to 7K a month in commissions. If you're, working for an offer that's like not that crazy, it's kind of like a mid offer, then what you're going to be making is like roughly, anywhere between 2 to 3 grand per month in commissions. But again, if you get a DM setting job, guys, it's so fucking flexible. You can literally like do it at the same time as your normal 9 to 5, right? You guys can combine the both easily. Again, not talking out of my ass. I've seen so many people doing this, including my own clients, right? So do that. Now, what can you do if, you're in a position where, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I don't want to do setting and I want to do closing. I like, Hassan, I have okay skills, right? Like please, I don't want to set. The only other option that you'd have if you don't have like any freaking experience at all is closing for a shittier offer. So you guys could start closing for an offer that's not that great. And the reason why you guys can do that is because it'll build you your initial experience. So you guys can basically offer hop, right? Some people might say, oh, that's not super ethical and whatnot, but sales is a very selfish game, as I like to put it. So you guys can just come into an offer that's a bit more desperate for closers, right? Come in, be their closer, get your experience, get better, and just have that on your resume, right? And so as you guys do that, right now you've built some experience. Obviously, you have a good resume now. Now when you're taking interviews, you're not going to look dumb. And you're going to actually pass them, and you're going to be able to like state that you've actually worked inside of a company before, and that's just going to help you guys out a ton. Now, my recommendation also for you guys is like, there's 2 types of people watching this, right? Number one is if you're someone who's actually broke watching this, then save up your money and hire a coach as fast as you possibly can. It's going to save you so much freaking time. Do not be silly. You could figure this out yourself, but 99% chance you can, right? There's going to be a lot of pain you guys are going to go through. Now, if you're someone who already has the money, then just do it, right? If you don't have the money, then save up, right? And obviously, say out what you're setting money and then pay someone. But if you already have the money, then just do it. Like there's really no need to just wait. Again, you do not want to follow bad advice and get bad information, because if you do that, you're just going to feel stuck and feel dismotivated and you're just going to want to give up, right? So just like literally, avoid the pain altogether. But aside from that, guys, it's pretty simple, and that about sums up everything, right? It's like, number one, just make sure that, again, you guys at least have some sort of basic skills. And number two, is make sure that you guys are booking in interviews, right? That's basically it, right? Like you guys got to understand that when it comes to being a high ticket closer, at the end of the day, it's a job, right? Not saying it's a bad thing, because we make way fucking more money than 99.9% of business owners that run fucking agencies, growth agencies, IGBA, IPG, I don't know what the fuck they call it these days, right? But those guys don't make shit, okay? We make way more money than those guys anyway. They're brokies, right? 99% of them, because we make profit, all profit. So, that being said, though, it's still a job, okay? So I don't want you guys to overcomplicate it too much. It's really just 2 things, okay? Number one is getting the right skills, and number 2 is just making sure you're booking enough interviews. If you guys can do those 2 things, again, I suggest spending most of your time in just, ensuring that you guys are getting enough interviews booked in onto your calendar, especially if you're starting out, you will find offers, right? And if you don't have the right skills, then yeah, you probably won't get in, but you'll get in as a setter and you'll start making your first couple of grand, and that gives you the leeway to then hire a coach. So with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next one. I hope that this video was informative. Now, if you're someone who, is saying, Hassan, all right, I get it, fine, whatever, I don't want to suffer alone, I want your help, then guys, I'll leave a link down in the description below where you guys can go ahead and book in a call with me. Guys, here are some wins as well that I just wanted to share at the end of the video. Just a shit ton of screenshots, as you guys can see. So yeah, with that being said, guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.